What is going on, everybody? Happy Victory Monday. It's feeling good to say that, Scotty. 7 Victory Mondays in a row here on the Phaithful Phanatics show. We're live on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. Guys, as always, first and foremost, make sure to do yourself a favor, do us a favor. Follow us on all social media platforms, more specifically our YouTube or Twitter page, excuse me. It's where we're most active and interactive, and that's where you can find the link tree in our bio. It will take you to every other social media platform we're on. Make sure to check out the YouTube link specifically. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with your friends, family, any other Philly sports fans you know of. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now, so we'll continue to adjust to this new schedule, man, away from the morning show. But we're here. Eagles march into SoFi Stadium in SoCal, man, and walk away with a humongous victory, 37-20. Eagles fans showed up and showed out. Saquon Barkley's good at football. The defense was electric. All last night was electric. So we're going to break down that win for you guys as best as we can.
Yeah, man.
Our biggest takeaways and how much fun it was. And at the end of the day, the Sixers are the Sixers still. So they went 1-1 over the weekend. Maybe towards the end of the show, we'll talk about it. As long as the chat stays focused today, we'll be good when it comes to positives in the Eagles, my man. But happy Monday.
Happy Monday, brother. Yeah, the chat stays focused. I know for some reason, I think it is human nature to want to cling to like negative things. I guess it depends what type of person you are. Maybe it's just life as a Philly fan.
I think it's easier to talk about because I think it's easier to get more
worked up about. Yeah. So I like what you said. Keep the chat focused, because if you go down the dark path, we'll have to go down the dark path, and we just don't want to do that on this fine Thanksgiving Monday. Like we're feeling thankful this morning. Like we're feeling good. We got good vibes from the Eagles yesterday, and I'll say this about the Sixers, and I'll leave it at that until towards the end of the show if we want to gravitate towards them at the end. They're not worth us shedding the tears anymore. They've gotten to that point, right? Like we're not heartbroken anymore. We are just enduring pain.
About keeping the faith, brother.
We're enduring pain, man. We're enduring pain right now. So the way I look at it, Dylan, I'm not going to sit here and say I've completely lost faith or anything. I think there's some question marks up the chain, up the ladder. Specifically with Nick Nurse, I have some major question marks about him. But the injuries are what they are. We're going to see when Joel gets back to swelling in the knee, right? That's something that came after our show on Friday, by the way. Paul George, we'll see when he gets back. But, I guess what I'm trying to say is when you have a team that is as good as the Philadelphia Eagles are right now, just soak it in, man. Enjoy the ride and take that for what it is. We are primarily in football season right now. So just focus on that. If we get to February, once the NFL season concludes and the Sixers are still just looking abysmal, it is, that's when we can really get down in the dumps and feel really bad about this team. Maybe if the Eagles lose, maybe then we can just throw them in the group with the Sixers, right? But I'm just trying to ride this high horse right now. I'm trying to stay positive because that's what the Eagles need, and that's where the focus ultimately should be right now in reality. If the Sixers were good, then sure. If they were good right now, then sure. And I'm not trying to be like a front runner. I'm not trying to present it like that. We're still going to talk about the Sixers in these big moments, but I think they're playing the same day as the Eagles. We don't need to talk about them if they lose. If they're playing the same day as the Eagles, nah, I don't know. I'm interested. I guess we'll see how you guys feel about that, but that's kind of how I feel about it, man.
Well, first of all, that's just how sports work, right? You get excited for the new season, and then that kind of wears off, as we start to get into things, and especially when things aren't going well at all. And then you have another team. It's like the beginning of the Eagle season and the end of Philly's regular season, postseason, right? By the time baseball season winding down, football's back. You're amped for football. Yeah. You get about 3 weeks into football, and now you're entering Red October. If you're a Phillies fan, now the gear kind of switches to that for a couple of weeks. And then it's just human nature, I guess, and how sports fandom tends to go and conversation tends to go. But I'm glad you said that last night, man, about this Eagles team, because I think that's what last night was. Look, we know this team's really good. We just did our power rankings on Thursday. We mentioned that this Eagles team is in our top 2 or 3 in the NFL. They were on a 6-game win streak up to that point. Yeah. But you were just waiting for that stamp, that approval moment. And no, this isn't the Baltimore Ravens. That the big one's next week in Baltimore. We're gonna have a lot of fun talking about that one. But last night was a big test, man. Because you beat up on Washington, and that was a game that I was looking forward to. And maybe people put more stock into Washington than they should have. But outside of that, like what have we done? Who have we beaten? Who have we played? They didn't just go to Los Angeles and beat the Rams.
Right.
They beat the shit out of the Rams. And I think it's a common theme of how this football team operates and what their identity is, man. It's not just that they want to run the ball. It's that they wear on you. And it's exactly what the broadcast was talking about. Watching Saquon Barkley is like watching 3 years ago, Derrick Henry during that Tennessee playoff run, where every run feels close. Every single touch feels close, and you know something's coming, and then you get into the third quarter and the fourth quarter. It's the same thing he did on Thursday night against Washington. He did it last night. It's bound to happen, man. First of all, we're going to talk a lot about him today, but this team, 37-14, Scotty. That was really the score of last night's ball game. Yeah. This team is a wagon. They are legit. They are so much fun to watch each and every week on both sides of the ball. People keep talking about 2022 vibes, and I get it because that core from 2022 is like still here, right? It's that quarterback. It's that offensive line, etc. This is 2017 vibes, bro. This is the fun. This is the swagger. This is the dominance from 2017 that I'm getting right now. And it's a lot of fun because in the first half, what was it? 7-6 or 6-3, or whatever it was, 7-6, I believe, as we were coming closer to halftime, and then boom, AJ Brown's able to pull one in. We take the lead, and then we never looked back from there. So, dude, they are a fucking wagon right now. And
they even have inspiration, like the 2017 team. You have BG that went down now, which shout out to BG, man. Dude. If that is his last game, if that is his last outing, what a way to go out. If I was the Eagles, I would try to convince him to stay for one more year, man. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. He's playing at like a really good level.
Sucks, dude, because he was electric last night.
He was electric. He was last night. Best player on the line outside of maybe Jalen Carter, who was just taking double teams the entire night. Pause, right? But I completely agree with you, Dylan, and I'll even add one more thing to it on top of what you said. Like, it is the Rams, it's Matthew Stafford, it's Cooper Kupp, it's Puka Nacua, it's Sean McVay. Kyron Williams obviously looks great at times throughout the last couple of years. But it's also the referees, brother. Like, we are in LA and everything is getting called against us, and it doesn't even matter. That's how good the Eagles are, right? Because the Rams needed that W. They needed it. The NFL, it's better for the NFL if the Rams get that W at home last night because it completely mixes up the entire NFL, or NFC, I should say.
Yeah.
That's not happening because the Eagles went out there and they were talking about it in the first half, how the Eagles are the bully and how, the Rams were kind of throwing some punches back. And yeah, that's all good, man. That's all good in the first quarter. It's all good. You get to the second quarter, you start to see it. And I like what you said as well, man. It's not just the run game because A.J. Brown is physical. He is a bully. When he gets the ball in his hands, it's hard to take him down. There's not one guy that's taking him down one-on-one, just like Saquon Barkley. So it's like you get him involved in the passing game. That's physical. You get Jalen Hurts on the ground using his legs. He's physical. The entire offense is bullyish. And then you have the defense on the other side that's bullying, getting to the quarterback, forcing turnovers. And what I mean by the refs, man, you talk about the last touchdown to Cooper Kupp that shouldn't count. The first two shouldn't fucking count because they're getting pass interference gifts that take them to the 1 yard line. And I want to point one more thing out, Dylan, because this one fires me up real bad in the second half, bro. You get that pass interference in the end zone for the Eagles, and they call that bullshit on Landon Dickerson, that unnecessary roughness. Wipes away my man Hurts touchdown in that game. That touchdown was coming, bro, and I would have went up 240 last night if they just let my man get to the goal line. No, they do some bullshit call for no fucking reason. In reality, it's not like it's going to keep the game intact for them.
Completely
because you have Saquon Barkley, who's just a fucking monster.
But that's the thing, dude. This
my
team,
God.
And I would say this, like the whole team's physical, right? But you mentioned the offense, like there's styles, there's teams that are physical. Again, when you think of peak physicality, you always go back to Derrick Henry, and you go back to those Titans teams, or maybe you go to a Steelers team from last year that doesn't really have a quarterback, where they're physical. They want to run the ball. They want to punch you in the mouth, but there's nothing else to them. This team's physical. They want to bully you, but they have 5 different guys that are explosive and can take it to the house. And like, that's the difference between them and a lot. This isn't just old school, put my hand in the ground and get after you. No, this is, we're going to punch you in the mouth for 7-8 plays in a row. And then I'm going to throw a go route to AJ Brown and we're going to see what happens. Like they have so much explosiveness to them, Scotty. That's what makes them different than other teams that try to play that style of football, man. But I'm noticing, I'm seeing Gint, I'm seeing Martian, I'm seeing Abe, D-Rab, Hunter's here now. We're missing somebody. I believe he's a pastor.
Oh my God.
I believe so.
Oh my God. I forgot. I completely forgot. Pastor Rims, where are you?
And Washington lost yesterday. It's not a good day for him.
It isn't. But I will say he didn't talk too much shit. The problem with Pastor Rims is that he was co-signing on the Commanders really hard. He was co-signing on the Commanders harder than he was co-signing on his Rams. That's the problem. I hear you though, man. They put the belt to ass last night, bro. Let me ask you this: how were you feeling first half before the AJ Brown touchdown? And the reason I asked this,
that's what I was going to say.
I was at peace in a sense.
We sit here and we go, this was such a dominant win, but really up until the final 4 minutes of the first half, we were down in the game, right? And the Rams on the first 2 possessions moved the ball right down the field. We obviously forced a fumble, and then the very next possession they go right down and score a touchdown and take the lead on us. But then I never felt uneasy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like even though they were losing 7-6, we weren't. I texted you that I think it was our first drive actually. We went right down the field, and I didn't like the red zone play calling. I didn't like the plays inside the 10. Too many design quarterback runs, and then they had the penalties, and then they had to kick a field goal. I'm like, man, you just wasted a great opening drive.
Yeah.
I never felt uneasy. I still felt okay, and maybe that's just because of what they've been proving to show. They are a second. Let's just call it what it is. They're a second half football team, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a plus 90 net rating against their opponents in the second half over this win streak. It's absolutely ridiculous. But maybe that's just because of who their identity is, man. There's not really much I can say about 26. There's nothing I'm going to come on this microphone and say that other people don't know or aren't thinking, but my fucking God, dude, it is a absolute joy to watch this dude each and every night. And I said this to Gint on Saturday, and I'm going to throw this to you because we were busting balls about the Sixers and stuff. And Bryce Harper, the Phillies, I need a World Series so bad. I want Bryce Harper to get a ring and bring Philly a ring so badly. And we used to say, and it's not that I don't want it, but we used to talk about, I need Joel to get that ring for the Sixers. Dude, I know he's only been here for a cup of coffee, but if this dude comes here, PA boy, Penn State, got drafted by our rival in a poverty franchise, comes home, and wins a Super Bowl in year 1, and possibly breaks the rushing record, I need Saquon Barkley in playoff atmosphere so bad.
He's good. He's gonna get there. That's for sure. I feel you. I think for me, man, I like just on what you said in the last part. I think for me, it's almost bigger for Hurts. I do get your point, though. I get the point. It is bigger for Hurts because of the slander that this man receives.
He has
done something that he's not getting commended for. By the way, he's doing something that he's not getting commended for, and he's taking a back seat, man. And it's just funny how other quarterbacks get complimented for being a willing game manager.
I didn't mean it like for a legacy conversation. I just meant
yeah.
And I don't want to call it likability either because I love Jalen. It's just like for that
it's a
dude
storybook.
Here and have the impact, dude, that he's having. And you look around the league, look at what Derek's doing in Baltimore. Look at the numbers Josh Jacobs is doing in Green Bay, Saquon here, and then look at the records of those three teams that let those guys walk. They're like 7-28 combined. Like,
right.
The fact that the league just didn't value 27-year-old running backs is ridiculous.
Look how we feel about Terrell Owens. And that's what I'm picking up from what you're saying. Like, Saquon is such like a legendary talent that if we watch him leave this Eagles franchise without a ring, it's going to be really, really disappointing. Now, with Terrell Owens, we saw him leave like a season later. But it was like the greatest wide receiver season that we have ever seen as Eagles fans, at least in that era. And it's the same thing right now. Like, I've seen LaShawn McCoy. I've gotten to watch Brian Westbrook. And Saquon Barkley is better than they are. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect them by any means. I'm not trying to.
I watch
they're more my favorite players.
Ridiculous.
They're higher on my tier of favorite players. Don't get me wrong, because they play for the team longer. Yeah. But Saquon Barkley is better, man. Like, he is better
than any running back that to put on an Eagles uniform. And
is he better than Derrick Henry, man?
Is he more talented? Yeah,
he's got to be, right? Like, he's more versatile.
You see Saquon Barkley, like, he's the best running back in football. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
like, he's unbelievable, dude.
The catch on the sidelines on his knees.
The catch, dude. For about 3 weeks in a row, he has put someone's head through the turf. He's so strong. He's so.
It's ridiculous, thing, bro.
I thought I could be wrong. I thought I saw some tweets, maybe from other fan bases, maybe from John. I don't know from who, but when we signed him, he's not as quick as he used to be. He's not as explosive as Penn State days.
Yeah,
go watch those two 70-yard.
AJ couldn't even keep up with him.
AJ Brown was 8 yards fucking behind him.
He was ghosted by Saquon.
Hauling ass behind him. He's so good, dude. And again, I'm finally glad they're relying on him, and it's beautiful. I do want it. Jalen deserves credit. He played a very good game last night. AJ deserves credit. I have seen a couple comments, and I'll pull
it was a Saquon game, though, to be clear. It was a Saquon
for sure,
game.
1,000%.
Everything you said. I didn't mean to redirect the combo. It was a Saquon game.
Dude, over 300 all-purpose yards last night.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
The second touchdown, just unbelievable. The timing.
Never seen it before. Never seen that done before.
Yeah. They're not supposed to score. They're trying to run the clock out.
Hold on. I'll come back to Martian's point here. He looks bro. That's the thing about this team. Not only are they winning, that's what I'm talking about. Like, with the you watch Jay, they all just seem wowed by this dude that they're equals to. Like, it
inspires them.
Teammate, and you just see Jalen pointing to the end zone with a big ass smile on his face. You see the guys on the sidelines every time, dude. Just my god. Mekhi Becton tweeting out about how much fun he's having and rejuvenated this year, and Saquon talking about how he feels free again and is having so much fun. Like, dude, that's something that was missing last year. This team was not having fun. I don't care if they were 9-1, 10-1. They were not having fun. They were not playing good football. It's completely different this year, but the Sirianni comment.
Martian wants to fight or something, bro. I don't know who he's talking to, bro.
Dude, no way. This offense is a wagon. They've been a wagon.
The pumper, man.
Yeah. But I was gonna go back to that Martian comment for you. Where are we at with Nick, dude? I'm not don't get me wrong. I'm still hesitant. I'm still fearful that crazy Nick is going to come out to play at a big moment and do something a little crazy. But he deserves credit, right? Dude, if your team goes on a 7 week, we thought he lost the team last year. We thought with what they did in Tampa Bay in week 4 that he doesn't have this team. We were wrong. I'm just going to call it what it is. We were wrong. They like him. They love to play for him. I don't know. But he gets it done, man.
He kicked the field goal in the first quarter, man. Which felt right.
At the 3-yard line, too. Didn't force it, took the points. Because that's the thing, man.
Right.
You have a successful opening drive. Think about what happens if you go for it and get stuffed and there's a 0 on the board still.
It's deflating.
Just get the points on the board. It's something to build off of.
Nick Nurse. Nick Sirianni. They're both Nicks, man. I got confused with that comment from Pumper. Nick Nurse, he's a dead man walking. I do kind of agree with that. But Nick Sirianni, you do have to give him credit, whether it's just him stepping to the side and letting Kellen Moore do his job, and Vic Fangio obviously is going to control his defense. But he's doing exactly what he's supposed to. He's doing exactly what we've asked him to do, and I don't like to use the term staying out of the way because it is disrespectful. I know that's what we were ultimately asking him to do when we started this season, but it's not just staying out of the way. It's also making the right moves. Going back and accepting that penalty last night, right, to turn the 3rd down into 3rd and 13 rather than taking the 4th down, because I'm telling you, man, you accept that penalty or you decline that penalty and take the 4th and 3, the Rams are getting that 1st down, bro. So I love that he even went back and, changed his mind, whatever happened there, right?
Also, I don't understand what all, the controversy. I've seen that done before.
Absolutely.
I have watched a head coach go, nah, I'm good, 4th down. They send the offense out, and he goes, whoa, never mind. I promise you I've seen it before. So I saw a bunch of different tweets, and that the announcers were talking about it. Is he allowed to do – I'm almost positive.
Yeah, it was funny, man. And I forgot about that fumble to start the game too, right? They just move on from it.
They get the call wrong on the field, and then – they just don't pay attention to him dropping
the challenge. Ignore the challenge. Dude, so, I thought Nick Sirianni was on the money last night, man.
Holding the chains, yelling at the ref,
stop.
And the ref
just red flag.
Just trying to ignore it.
And the fumble was obvious.
Right.
It was obviously out and recovered by the Eagles, but whatever. They got the call right. But I do agree with Gant's comment too. You don't get apologies for being dog shit. He was making bad decisions at the beginning of the year. And even though with all the injuries, A.J. Brown beat up, whatever you want to say, there were still decisions made that cost us points in games that we lost.
When you take 9 points off the board for your own team, you're going to hear about it. And it wasn't the first time he's taking points off the board this year and made. So, look, he's fixing it. They are balling the F out right now. And it's a lot of fun to watch. One more thing offensively, man, because, look, we've talked for 20-plus minutes about this offense, and rightfully so. 37 points, Saquon Barkley, 300-plus yards, 2 70-yard touchdowns. I get it. This defense is legit too, dude. I have watched a fully healthy Rams offense put it on people, and they could do nothing. Nothing. They scored 20 points. Realistically, they scored 4. It's the same thing with Washington, right? With that garbage time. There's a minute and 8 seconds left when we were up by fucking 23 points, 24 points. They scored that touchdown, whatever, 6 points there. Then you mentioned it. You had the 2 gift pass interference calls in the end zone. The first one, whatever, maybe I'll give it to you. The second one, you're not getting. The second one, you are 1,000% not getting. Then, whatever. They couldn't do anything. Nothing. This defense, I think, forced 4 or 5 straight 3-and-outs. The fumble on the opening possession to kill that drive and take points off the board for the Rams there was humongous. Cooper DeJean, balling. Quinyon Mitchell, balling. C.J. Gardner-Johnson made a huge stand a yard shy of the first down marker. Nakobe Dean, monster. BG before the injury, monster. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams with a career game. Zach Bond breaking up a pass. Jalen Carter gets double-teamed on every single play. This defense is legit. The last thing I wanted to say offensively, though, man, is does last night, and this is taking nothing away from Smitty, and I think that's even another thing. They did this without Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
But does last night just show you how important and how good A.J. Brown is?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, I'm
Good
not
point.
throwing a jab at Smitty. I'm trying to
It's a
elevate
good point,
AJ.
though.
When they don't have AJ, they still have Saquon, they still have Smitty, they still have Goddard. They don't look right. When they don't have Smitty, they score 30. So AJ Brown is a freak, dude. And I think that's something that went under the radar. Like 6 catches, 109 and a touchdown. He's not even like top 4 storylines of the game.
It's undershadowed by just this humongous Saquon game, man. But no, you're spot on. And I think, your point about the defense, and you saw the 2 early drives that Gint was mentioning earlier in the comments. After that, like you said, it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And that's part of what helps the offense as well, right? Is they get to wear down that defense quicker when that defense has to come right back onto the field and play against Saquon and Jalen Hurts and that offensive line. So it all ties together, but it's why I feel so confident when we're late in the second quarter, the Rams are up 7-6, because I know what's coming in the second half, man. And I know that if the defense can just get us through those early game struggles of our offense, right? And it wasn't even that bad yesterday. Let me be for real. It's not as bad as it was throughout other parts of this season so far, but it was still there. You still only had 6 points late into the second quarter. But I just have a superior confidence in this defense to do their jobs and get stops when we need them specifically, because the Rams could have gone up 14-3, 21-6 at certain points in this game, and the defense gets those stops in that moment. Yeah, they give up a garbage time touchdown, or gave up a touchdown in the middle of the third quarter right after we come out and light the stadium on fire. It's just really impressive week to week as the tests keep getting harder, because you're seeing different levels, right? You got to see Jaden Daniels and that Washington offense, Terry McLaurin, right? That was a level. And then you rise up to the LA Rams level. Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Cooper Kupp is a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Puka Nacua, you saw how good he was last night. That dude's a beast. Kyron Williams, the fumbles and stuff, but he scores touchdowns at an excessive rate. He's a pretty good running back. They have a great offense. That was another level. And we watched the Eagles come out and succeed once again, man. Yeah. And I wanted to throw this out there as well. Shout out Cooper DeJean, because that dude is just a freak. Just an athletic freak. He bullies people. And I'm excited about, obviously, him and Quinyon. Slay was getting picked on last night, interesting enough.
Slay got picked on, and then they went after Rodgers when Slay got removed. I don't want to say anything crazy, man, and it's a shame that he's hurt again. But what are our thoughts on Darius Slay at this point of his career, at this point of the season? Because obviously having him next to all the young bucks, it's still all right.
Good.
But you said, and again, that's probably a testament to Quinyon and to Cooper DeJean if they're throwing towards Slay a lot. But man, he's the one guy getting beat. He's the one guy that can't tackle still in the set. All these young kids can wrap somebody up and get them to the ground. Darius Slay cannot tackle anybody. He was taken off the field 3 different times last night for being hurt. He was taken off the field in Dallas. He was taken off the field in Jacksonville. Now he's got the concussion. It's not his fault, but he's all what are our thoughts? Because
would Rodgers be better if he got consistent minutes at starting
in a full-time role? That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I don't know. How do you feel? He just wasn't as bad to me as Slay was in that game yesterday.
They talked about on that touchdown drive how they picked on him. Dude, he got thrown into the game and had to cover Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua, that's not an easy
whatever. But so whatever. It's not a bad problem to have, because I'm not saying Slay can't see. He's not Avonte Maddox. It's not that Slay can't see the field.
Agreed. His IQ alone gets him on the field, but
between when you have Slay, when you have Rodgers, when you have a guy like Keely Ringo who doesn't even see the field anymore, you might have options. I don't know. We're gonna see. He's probably gonna miss this week. I would assume. Who knows?
Yeah.
If they're careful with him.
And he won't be here next year. To be clear, he's not going to be here next year. There's no point. I mean, no diss to him. I think he'll still be in the NFL. It's not like that. Yeah. It's not that much of a downfall.
I do agree, but
for our team, we don't need that older vet. We don't need it.
Crazy, bro. You brought up Cooper DeJean.
Yeah,
and it's isn't it just funny how Cooper DeJean's getting outshadowed by another. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
how good this tandem is and how much
Yeah.
they're hitting early on. I did want to say, though, because we talked that one touchdown drive we were talking about, and obviously they marched down the field the first 2 drives. And I think that's something we've kind of seen the last couple of weeks with this defense is, man, shout out, like, Vic Fangio is a blessing, man, because the adjustments mid-game is eye-popping to me. Like you don't just find a way, like you don't just slow down that Rams offense on the road. You know what I mean? Just because, like, whatever. The first 2 drives happen. Let's observe, blah, blah, blah. They didn't do anything the rest of the game, Scotty. They did nothing from the second quarter, third quarter, until 1:08 left when they scored that final touchdown. Not a goddamn thing. Multiple 3-and-outs. So many. He got sacked 5 times last night. They were constantly in Stafford's face. Having Vic Fangio, that's what I want to know. Like, just how bad was Sean Desai and Matt Patricia last year? And I get, like, they did not have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and CJ Gardner-Johnson was gone. Like, I get all that. But, dude, going from, like, where we were, like, 28th in this, 29th in this, 26th in this, to first, third, first, fourth, Vic Fangio mid-game is another thing that gives me confidence, because to Abe's point earlier, how happy he is with this defense, maybe even a little bit more so than the offense. That, to me, it can be the difference in winning a Super Bowl this year compared to in 22, and even the one we won in 2017. Man, I say it all the time. We've played in 2 Super Bowls in our recent lifetime. We haven't forced a punt in either.
Yeah.
8 quarters of Super Bowl play, the Philadelphia Eagles did not force a punt in either Super Bowl. Maybe one again. I don't think they made Kansas City punt it.
I'm pretty sure no.
Defense is different, man. And to balance with that offense, that's why, to me, they're the most complete team in football, and why last night was so impressive to watch, because that wasn't just anybody. Yes, I know the record's 5-6. They're not a great football team. That defense is young. There's not a lot of names, but that offense is legit.
Yeah.
And you went in there and took everything away from them.
Yeah. It got to the point where Sean McVay was being a little gun shy with the play calling. Yeah. They were running it on third downs and, trying to keep Matthew Stafford, get the ball out of his hands quick. What I really, really love, man, is the pressure he's able to generate on a defensive line and front seven that, if you look at it compared to last year, man, like Hassan Reddick this year. Bryce Huff isn't even close to what we thought maybe he could be coming into the season. And this is what the defensive line looks like. Nakobe Dean is going in the backfield, blasting blockers into the ground and then sacking the quarterback. Like, Nakobe Dean is playing out of his mind. Zach Bond playing out of his mind. And so, like, you to your point, like with Vic Fangio, is it like so far gone that he's just helping them know how to tackle? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it that much of a difference? But maybe it is. Maybe that's how important coaching in every detail really is. Maybe it just helps having Quinyon and Cooper DeJean in 2 critical positions on your defense as rookies where they are completely excelling. I want to shout out CGJ as well, man.
Yeah.
In the right places at the right time. He helps in run support.
It's huge.
Yeah, on Cooper Kupp, I believe it was. Made him fumble at the sideline. Yeah. Ball goes back behind the first down line, and then we get the stop, man. They're just playing as a complete unit. That's what it is. You look across the defense. Once you took Avonte Maddox out, to Abe Link's point here, once you took Avonte Maddox out of that starting lineup for the defense, there is no weakness across the board. If you had to pick one, you would probably say Darius Slay. And I think that's a compliment to the defense rather than a diss to Darius Slay, honestly.
So, I do want to ask you, man, looking forward, because I know we've tried to do this, and I'm seeing Martian's point, because it's going to – look, that is the test. That is the litmus test. And if we don't catch a game or 2 up on them, we are going to be going to Detroit. Right. If, knock on wood, we can get to an NFC Championship game against them. But I'm looking here, and the Eagles are 5-1 on the road this year. Really, they're 6-1 because they were considered the home team against the Packers in Brazil. So they're 6-1 on the road this year. And now I'm looking at the schedule where, it's tight. You play in Baltimore. You get the Commanders on the road. You get the Steelers. But 4 of our last 5 are at home, dude.
Yeah.
Is there a way that this team doesn't win 13 games? Like minimum, I'm saying. Like,
because at this point, Dylan, like they're not losing to the Steelers and the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't.
They're
Yeah,
not.
I don't think so.
They're
And
not.
I'm looking at that Washington game where maybe heading
It's not
into
as-
Thursday Night Football, we go, oh, maybe we split with Washington. Not anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm not too sure about that anymore.
Washington has just continued to show that they're too young, they're too inexperienced, and they're not quite there yet. They have too many.
How far do you go to try to get the 1 seed?
Well,
based on the line.
I think that would,
right?
that's
like,
do
you play until the last week of the season, like starters?
Look, if it comes down, like if it comes down to it, 1,000%. If you know it's out of reach, then no. But if it comes down to it, you win and you're the number 1 seed, 1,000%. They're playing all 4 quarters, or until we know that game is wrapped up, man. Which I know, like, sounds like okay. What if we're 14-2 and we need to whatever? But it is that important because making Jared Goff have to come here in January versus going to that dome in January,
play in the cold,
is much different for that offense and for that team. But I'm looking at the schedule. To Abe's point, the test is this week.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not pass fail, right? Like if they lose to Baltimore in Baltimore, what do you think I'm going to get on here? This team's not real. Now they're not good. No, fuck no. I mean, now you can't go to Baltimore and get beat the fuck up. But
there is part of me that feels like we shouldn't lose. Like we'll obviously get into that later this week, but you talked about balance earlier in the show, man.
Yeah, that
can't win every game though.
Bad. That
defense is bad.
It really
is.
See
what they look like tonight.
Yeah. So you get the Ravens, right? And that's another thing. Short week for the Ravens. They play Monday Night Football. So you get the Ravens this week. Panthers at home, without a doubt, a win. Cowboys at home. Giants at home, without a doubt. You have 3 wins.
Yeah.
As long as the games mean everything and you're playing in all of them, you have 3 wins. That puts you at 12. You have to win 1 against the Ravens, Commanders, and Steelers to get to 13. So my question is this team not going to be 14-3 by the end of the year?
Yeah, I think they're going to have 14 wins.
14-3. And they started 2-2, mind you.
It's ridiculous. And like you said, man, Smitty did not play last night.
Right. That's the other thing. They have not been fully healthy for a majority of the season.
Most of the season, yeah.
They have missed Devontae Smith. They have missed A.J. Brown. They have missed Lane Johnson. They have missed Dallas Goedert. They have missed Mekhi Becton. They have missed Jordan Mailata. Like, they have not been healthy. Defensively, you're now down Bryce Huff and Brandon Graham. You're short on edge rushers right now. They have not been healthy fully healthy the entire season, and they just continue to rattle off wins, man. And that's this is what I mean by balance. This is another week, okay, where the defense, I want to look back here, going back to this winning streak. The defense has given up 16, 3, 17. Well, actually, no, we didn't even give up 16 against the Browns because one was the field goal return for a touchdown. So they gave up 9 or 10 against the Browns, 3, 17. There was the fumble recovery in Jacksonville, so they only gave up 16 to the Jags, 6, 18, and 20 against Washington and the Rams, and to get there were garbage time touchdowns up 3 possessions. Now the offense, 20, 28, 37, 28, 34, 26, 37. They are the most balanced, the most complete, the most dangerous with the balance of power and explosiveness on offense. They are so complete, man. And that's why my expectations for them have just risen, honestly, because the offense, I don't want to say that the offense is doing what we thought. Like what Saquon's doing is unbelievable.
Beyond
right? Watching A.J. Brown just rip off 100 yards each and every week, unbelievable. I'm not saying that I'm expecting 35 points a game from this offense, but the defense was the big question mark. And to see them holding teams to what they are right now is why things have changed in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they can compete with Detroit. No. They can beat Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. They can beat anybody. That's what it comes down to after what we've seen so far. There's still 2 more tests for me, but these are tests as far as like you're the best team in the NFL and it's clear. Like that's the type of tests these are for me. Like
not like
you
a
get
not
the
a hard real
offensive
test.
you get the offensive tests against Baltimore, where you're going to get to go against a very, very dynamic quarterback in Lamar Jackson, the most dynamic quarterback that you've played against, as far as like being able to run the football and throw the football. They have a great mixture of weapons, obviously, Derrick Henry, right? But then you get to the Steelers game, and that's the other test for me where our offense, I believe, is going to be tested. Yep. And I think the last check on the box, and you can argue that may have already completed this task. But when the run gets stopped and you are forced to have to play through the pass, I still need to see it. And like I said, we may have seen it in spurts and patches throughout this winning streak. But against the Steelers defense, where that pass rush can get after you, where they can stop the run and force you to be one-dimensional, right? Will we be able to throw the ball at the capacity to open the run back up? Like I said, we have shown spurts of it throughout this season, but I do think that is like the final test. If you can prove there's two ways to pass the test. You can either, have the run be shut down and you succeed through the air with Jalen Hurts, those weapons, and you have a dominant day through the air, or you can prove that the run just simply can't be stopped. And that's the other way to pass the test against the Steelers, in my opinion. They can't make you one-dimensional. Yeah. Nobody can.
This Ravens matchup is the bigger test, right? This is like the Super Bowl aspiration test. Not like if, again, no one's saying test as in if the Eagles lose, they're not a Super Bowl title contender.
Right.
But it's like if you go into Baltimore and continue this winning streak and beat them, like you are solidified. There are no questions to be asked. One of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFL and favorites to win the Super Bowl. The Steelers, that's strength on strength. That is that defense, which might be the best in the league, versus, like you mentioned, everything with this offense, this running game, this offensive line, meeting head to head. And to your point, like what would be, I know we're getting weeks ahead of ourselves here, but what would be more impressive to you? Or like, what would you want to see more? Like, because obviously, like you said, if Saquon's getting slowed down, but Jalen throws for 275 and 2 passing touchdowns and no turnovers, and they have a day through the air, that's like, okay, we can do whatever we want against you. But what if Saquon rushes for like $120 and a touchdown against the Steelers defense and pops off big plays? Because no one's stopping that. No one at that point, no one has the answer to your test. And that is, how do we slow down or stop this Eagles run game? And if the Steelers can't do it, and if you go into Baltimore and do it against them, no one has the answers. Because Baltimore, that's the thing, man. We're going to talk about later on in the week. Baltimore's pass defense stinks. I haven't checked the numbers. They might be able to try to stack the box and make us beat them through the air, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think the Ravens would be the bigger test overall for me, and I think it just speaks to where I'm at with this Eagles team. Is I'm still more confident in the offense than I am in the defense. And maybe it's not fair. The defense has been arguably better than the offense has been. It's been more consistent than the offense has been over this season. But when you talk about top-end talent, when you talk about ceilings, I am much more confident in the Eagles in a big matchup against the Ravens hitting their ceiling on offense than I am on them just shutting down Lamar Jackson in that offense. Right. If they do that, it's going to be an incredible, incredible feat. And I think that's why I hold a little bit more stock in the Ravens game. It's in Baltimore too.
Yep.
Where, you look at the Steelers, like they are a tough ass matchup. You mentioned it. It's iron on iron, but like iron on iron, like if our offense is moving the ball against the Steelers, we're going to win that game at home.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. If we figure out how to move the ball against the Steelers defense, we're winning that game. Like, their offense isn't coming out and putting 30-plus points on our defense. So when you talk about, like, the iron sharpens iron, it's like, yeah. But I think our iron's just a little bit stronger, man. Like, I know you feel that way, too. Like, it's just a matter of talent. When you get back to the basics, man, coming into this season, we didn't think the defense would even be close to this.
That's exactly. So to your point, I think confidence, it's offense, defense.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word impressed by because I'm impressed by the offense, but I
know.
I don't know. It's just like, yeah, I'm more confident in the offense still. That's where the bigger names are. It's where we know. It's where there's more, just proof in the pudding that this unit can get the job done. But the defense is what changes, I think, the ceiling for this team.
The ceiling, yeah, correct. Well said.
And to your point, right? And again, it's we all have short memories, and we go back just to Thursday Night Football. We just watched the Steelers lose to Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns. You know what I mean? So it's like I know last week they beat the Ravens, fair, but then this week they lose to Jameis and the Browns. Like, so if they win that game, maybe I'm looking at the Steelers in that conversation. I watched that Steelers team and I went, man, I was super high on them on Thursday heading into that matchup, and now I'm like, playoff team for sure.
But they're definitely beatable. Like, Jameis can move the ball like that in the snow. Looks a little suspect, but there was snow, it was weather, so you give a little bit of grace, I guess. Right. But I think that's a great thing about the rest of the schedule, though, man. It's not just a bunch of like pushover teams that you should walk through. It's good competition, man. There's still more tests to be passed by this Eagles unit. But they're flying right now. They are flying. And yesterday was just validation, man, because you beat a team like that in LA where Sean McVay's on the sidelines, like biting his nails. He's so pissed off. You know what I mean? Like, you don't shut Sean McVay down unless you are a good ass defense.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. Like, this wasn't the Rams coming in with, just Cooper Kupp and no Puka, or just Puka and no Cooper Kupp, or no. They were fully loaded at home. It's one thing to put up points on the Rams. It's another thing to stop that offense. And again, you realistically only held them to 14 points.
Yeah.
I know the scoreboard's going to show 20. You held them to 14.
They tried. They tried to punch us in our mouths too, man. They tried. They threw their best shot in reality.
They did. And then Vic Fangio and this defense adjusted. The Eagles never stopped feeding the ball to Saquon Barkley. I think that was the most impressive thing, man. It was that not only did they continue to go to Barkley, they went to him early and often. And that's something, I'm not going to say we haven't seen it, but if there's been one complaint against the play calling, it's been getting him the ball early enough. It'll be all right. First play of the game, they run it, but then they'll throw the ball 3 times in a row, and you're like, dude, get the ball to 2-6 in the first quarter. I felt like it was him and Jalen on their legs the first drive, and with a mix of AJ. Same thing with the second drive, and then all of a sudden, that thing wears on you. And you look, and Saquon Barkley had 26 carries, and he had four receptions. Touched the ball 30 times for over 300 yards, and housed 270-yard run last night.
And he puts the nail in the coffin. It's really, you know what I mean? Like, he closes games out.
This is the second straight week of him doing that.
Yeah, he ends games. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy.
I believe he did it I'm sorry. That was the AJ touchdown. I was going to say, this is the second game I can remember of on the first or second play from scrimmage of the second half, us scoring like a 70-yard touchdown.
In Brazil, though, it was AJ.
Yeah, it was AJ.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, they come out of the second half firing, man. It is incredible. It is incredible stuff. Let me ask you this preemptive question for Ravens Eagles this weekend coming up. Any chance that they fall into that lull of throw? This is a horrible pass defense. Any chance?
I think it's a possibility.
Something to watch out for, though.
I mean, I think that's a good point. I think it's something to watch out for where I don't it's something to look at when it comes to Nick Sirianni and it comes to Kellen Moore and go, stay out of your own way.
Yeah.
Because again, this is your strength. I get what their weaknesses, and I'm not saying you can't pass the ball. I'm not saying Jalen and AJ and all can't have a day, but you don't need to go away from your identity. Even if they're slowing Saquon down in the first half, you don't need to abandon it and throw the ball 30-plus times in this matchup. Now, if you come out the first drive and Jalen starts the game 5 for 6 for 82 yards and
might just be having a day.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to complain if you're going to that well a little bit more often. But this is This is your identity, and that's what I want to see, because come January, man, that's going to be what puts us on a playoff run.
Yeah.
Because I know we fall in love with the pass game, and I know we love the big explosive plays, but we have the big explosive plays right next to us. You just saw it last night. You don't need to throw go ball after go ball. You don't need to draw something up to get the ball downfield. No.
The slants.
You turn and you hand it. And that's it. And that's what you do well. And come January in the cold weather, I promise you, teams are not going to want to come here or play you and have to tackle that man and have to tackle AJ and have to tackle Goddard and have to tackle Jalen over and over and over and over again, because it will wear on them come the second half, just like it is right now. Yeah. And it's been pretty beautiful outside, Scotty. They just played in a dome last night. It didn't matter. Welcome to the 25-degree weather. Yeah, come do that.
Gainwell complimenting Saquon very well when he comes in. He always has like one explosive run in every game, man. It is, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful balance. Beautiful balance. We can play in any weather, any dome, any area of the United States, man, because we can do everything.
They had 315 rushing yards last night. That is unbelievable. It really is.
3 touchdowns. None from Jalen, by the way.
No, and by the way, the first touchdown of the game came Jalen through the air, which don't get me wrong, I'm mesmerized by the running game, but Jalen over 1.5 passing touchdowns was plus 160. I didn't lay it. I was gonna lay it, and I got to be honest, if he threw the first one of the game and they went on to score 3 more and it wasn't through the air, I would have been ripping my hair out. Like, man, I just needed one more in the entire second half. So, but he's doing. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
To wrap up the show here, because there's nothing Jalen Hurts did last night, on the field that was too crazy, right? I mean, him and AJ had the connect. He threw for 179 yards. I mean, 156 of it went to Jalen and Saquon. So it's like there wasn't too much to the game plan or to the air attack last night. But he did what he had to do, and then watching his joy when it comes to Saquon. When it comes to AJ, that's the fun part, because that's what did we ask for so long? You're not a robot, bro. I know you're not. He's the godfather of you're the godfather of his kids. Like, you guys are best friends. There has to be personality there to create that friendship. There has to be something, and you're seeing it, man. Him and AJ. Did you see him point to the second house call, like before Saquon even breaks through the line of scrimmage almost? And there's just a smile on his face that, like, this is crazy, and that's what's fun, because like you said, there's no ego in it. They defer to each other at the right times. Saquon, did you see Saquon run down when Kenny Gainwell scored the touchdown?
Yeah, in the end zone celebrating with him, man. Everybody eats. It's beautiful.
Look, maybe we sound corny. Maybe we're reading too much into happiness.
It matters. It matters. We saw it last year. It matters.
Yeah.
It matters, bro.
Look at the Sixers. Not a lot of smiles.
It fucking matters.
Smiles on those faces. Not a lot of fun being had in that locker room right now. It matters. I promise you.
It matters, man. Even
at the end
go ahead.
Grown men millionaires playing a kid's game. They'll all tell you the same thing. Having fun fucking matters. But you think Mekhi Becton just tweeted that out to get attention? Like, no one cares what Mekhi Becton tweets out. When Mekhi Becton goes on after the game and goes, it's like, I'm actually having fun playing the game I love again. And he's not the first player to come to Philadelphia and share this thought this year and in the last. So the culture matters. And that's another thing to give to Nick Sirianni's credit.
I was just thinking that.
It's there, right?
Even if it was off last year, he has corrected it, which is even more miraculous, magical, that he was able to correct this disgusting culture that we ended the season with last year, man.
Good question, right, Scott? I mean, look at who we're missing right now, man. Look, we're missing Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox. And there were questions, man. Who's going to lead this locker room? Has Nick, like, all these different things? Who's the culture setter? Everything. 9-2.
Concern level, BG. Because he is that leader that was still on the team. He's still going to be there. I know it, but
he's going to have to keep that energy level up. Obviously, here's the issue, right? It's not just BG and Bryce Huff, because outside of last night for BG especially, and then Bryce Huff before this little surgery he got done, it's not like either of them were just popping off this season, right?
Right.
The issue is their bodies, and they're guys that can play snap after snap for you. Well, now you're down both of them, and it's
going
at
to
a spot
impact
you
other
were
guys.
already weak at, and shortened at. And now I believe, dude, we have
Nolan,
Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith, and Josh Sweat are our 3 edge rushers.
right? And I saw maybe Milton can do some work out
can
there.
Operate on the outside as well.
They're gonna have to sign someone, right? They're gonna have to sign some vet off the street.
They're gonna do something. I mean, yeah, you can't just have 3 edge rushers and
JJ Watt. That's a dream, right? Like JJ Watt's a dream.
Yeah. Come play against little bro in a couple weeks.
That would be so dope. I don't know if he's any good anymore. It would be dope. I saw some like Jason Pierre-Paul rumors, Bruce Irvin, some guys that were on the Dolphins last year with Fangio that are still available. So maybe.
I'd imagine they have to do something, man. You just don't have enough bodies to fill, and that's kind of what Fangio wants to do, right? He wants to rotate.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that and keep them fresh, then you might see a little bit of a struggle up front. But nonetheless, dude,
can Nolan, man, can he step up? Can he just be a guy? We'll see.
He's been more consistent this year. I mean, he's been a lot more consistent this year, I should say.
Yeah.
Jacoby Dean, Zach Bond, Jalen Carter. I mean, the list goes on and on, dude. They're having a lot of fun. Guys, that's going to get us on out of here. No Sixers talk today. We're going to keep this light. We're going to keep this positive. I see over almost 50 people in here right now. Not many on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching in replay form, check out the link tree in our bio. Go over to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Please, it's free. It's YouTube. It's the best and only spot for us to see and get your comments pulled up here and to be interactive with us throughout each and every one of our shows. So subscribe.
Please.
Go Birds. We appreciate each and every one of you. For myself, for Scotty, peace out, everybody, and we'll be talking to you. Thanksgiving week, feast week, baby. We'll have the schedule.
Figure that out. Yeah, well, we should be back Wednesday at least to finish out the week.
Wednesday,
so,
and then
Sunday we should be able to get Eagles
Turf Talk most likely for Thursday
because we should be able to get Sunday. Well, it depends on schedule. Maybe pre-recorded Eagles pregame too, or if we can go live, we'll see.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out though.
But that's why you guys got to subscribe and follow us on Twitter to know what we're doing. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM, go Birds, and have a great rest of your Monday.
Happy Victory Monday.